This is what feels like a grand time for Purrely players. Alright, for the 34% of you that not smash the crap out of that subscribe button, smash it so we can climb up the 110,000 ladder here. So we have the breakdown for this event, but I do want to say that there are going to be two honorable mentions at the end of it on this video. One of them is going to be a Morphronic FTK with Shadow Priestess of Ohm, and there was also a Tellarknight player that was involved with this as well. So for your breakdown here, what's going on here? Is that the first time that we have seen tier elements overcome a larger scale event? Yeah, it actually is. I have seen the tier population actually being controlled for quite a little while here, and that is very interesting to see that this particular event, they kind of overcame the odds. Now, when we get into the deck list here, you'll see some of the differences in, the deck building traits that these two particular variants are bringing to the table, because there's so many different ways to kind of approach this. It's very, very interesting. And then we also had what appears to be, you guessed it, Gishki Sprite. Now, this deck will be soon coming out here in the TCG. A lot of people are going to be massively excited to get the chance to pick this deck up and kind of see, where it's going, what kind of hurdles, we're going to be able to get over. And I do honestly say, when I mean this, you're going to see a lot of coolness with how this deck kind of unfolds into the TCG here. And we also have Purrely doing its thing as well. I know a lot of people are very excited to see what Purrely actually is kind of doing at the moment. And honestly, just with how things have been shaping up, Purrely is looking like it's one of the coolest rogue decks that you can actually pick up and have success with. And considering how cheap some of those cards are right now, you might not want to miss out on the opportunity to pick those up. All right, we're going to pass on over. I'm going to showcase some of these amazing decks for you today. All right, the first deck you're going to see here is the big winner of the event, which actually was none other than Gishki Sprite. Now, this is actually kind of interesting. With the reduced state that the Sprite package has kind of been in here, in the OCG, they've kind of had to adapt this deck into different ways, kind of test the waters. Now, what makes that statement most interesting, though, is Gishki is like the perfect candidate for this deck. All right, the fact that with your Gishki package, you get the ability to set up, you guessed it, a very huge negate to pressure your opponent. Your opponent's not going to have a very good time having to deal with, a big ritual monster that you can basically dump on them by getting something off of their field. I think that's the thing that makes this deck stupid, is the fact that you could fulfill an entire ritual cost by sacrificing something of the opponent's, and your opponent's just going to be like, what am I supposed to do about that? They definitely did a very nice thing by giving Gishki the ability to actually be competitive in the current day and age. So I'll give it to them. Even though this deck kind of feels just like you're on watered down Sprite power, it's still going to be a deck that you're going to have to deal with. And it once again, with this coming to the TCG here, you are going to see some massive cool combo. And yeah, there's not really much else to say about this. Full ritual cost for tributing the opponent's monsters. We've really come a long way in Yu-Gi-Oh! Next up here is the Purrely list. Now, I'm purely excited to bring this to you. So you kind of, I feel like, rely on hand traps for this. It's a pretty straightforward concept, all right? You use all of your Purrely cards, kind of excavate, set up all of these generic good stuff combos, and then you ride out the hand trap wave. The thing that makes this deck, as scary as it is the big black cat down there. That thing basically becomes immune to your opponent's activated effects and is a not once per turn bounce. Now, if you remember, there's a certain old Recital Sterling or Lyrilisk monster that also had the ability to not be once per turn in terms of its bounce ability. Insert Team Samurai X1, please ban this card video, because this card is so OP. Trust me, a once per turn, I mean, it really is kind of unfair. I'm not going to lie to you about that, but is it truly at the point that, it is the way it looks? Yeah, and also the fact that their format has slowed down so much. When you start to get into a slower format like this, that's going to be the place where you're going to start to see, decks like this kind of take off. And especially, there's no real kaijus running around on the format right now, so these are just kind of free chicken tendies out here at the end of the day for, you know, setting up and getting the chance to paralyze the opponent. So overall, good stuff. Now, we enter into tier Purgatory. So the first tier list here is we're doing Blazing Cartesia shenanigans. We're doing Shaddoll Feud. If you kind of noticed, the way the tier has had to evolve in the OCG is they've kind of had to lump in like Shaddoll stuff to kind of supplement some of the packaging options for this deck. Now, that's not to say that, you know, King of the Swamp isn't a bonkers crazy card, because it is. All right, like King of the Swamp literally will close games in and in itself, and your opponent's just going to kind of stare at you and go, what am I supposed to do with this? Well, unfortunately, the answer is there's not a lot you can do. Especially, you know, when you're flowing the new Blazing Cartesia at your opponent, you're make Chaos Angel for no real reason. There's so many little moving pieces that this deck has going for it. It's actually kind of insane. This is definitely the definition of heavy combo interactions to punish the opponent. Really, outside of that, I mean, mind controls in the side deck is kind of cool. There's a lot of cool pieces moving here, and I really do like this. I really wish I could say more about this, because looking at this on paper, this is an absolute cluster pile, but this deck works in such a way that your opponent's not going to know really how to handle this. And then we have our other tier list here. Now, this one is very, very interesting to me, because we're doing the Punk package here. Now, the Punk package for this is also kind of interesting, because with the way that we're having access to this to make the Chaos Ruler to, you know, get those excavations going, so maybe you could see like another tier monster along the way so you can get some additional combo options going for you, is really kind of worth noting. Also, you know, with Chaos Ruler comes the ability to make the big vampire for an additional mill 4. You have so much in-house synergy going for you for this deck that it's crazy at the end of the day. So also, you know, you get the ability to play Chaos Hunter, kind of paralyze your opponent, and of course, I love the fact that they're citing the Zeus down there as well. It's going to put so much pressure on the opponent and, you know, the game plan, that you actually do see that come up. Honestly, outside of that, I see we're citing the 1 Heartbeat, the 1 Crime. That's fine. Your extra deck is as tacked out as really ever. And also only 1 Reno Heart. Shout out to Reno Heart just getting in such reduced numbers at this point, because card doesn't feel anywhere near as strong as it once was. And it's kind of sad to say that at the end of the day, because it always kind of felt like such a powerhouse for what it wanted to do, and it just seeing less and less of them start to show up is not too bad. So yeah, that's your top breakdown here. Now, they had a couple of decks that they kind of gave like player awards to, which I thought were actually kind of hilarious. The first one here is actually going to be a Teller Knight deck. Now, I've seen Teller Knights actually show up, do things every blue moon. They're very, very interesting to kind of see the combo power that they're trying to pull off with this. This one's actually kind of playing the Spirit package. So the whole idea is how many level 4s you can get on the field to go ahead and climb up and make these big monsters that your opponent's going to have a massive hard time outing. They also have Swords Concealing Light in here. Game plan for this: make, you know, a diamond if you need to, make an infinity to protect your board. It's by far the definition of the rank 4 toolbox to pressure the opponent and, well, do what you want to do at the end of the day, which is win the game. So very, very interesting little combo lines that they were really trying to present for this deck. Now, the deck that caught my attention here was actually this like dice Morphronic pile of cards. Now, this is going to definitely rely on the fact that you want to see Shadow Priestess of Home, and then you want to OTK your opponent through burning them through the 2 Morphronic monsters. Does this come up all that much? No. But it is definitely something gimmicky. They're also citing the entire Numeron package in the side deck to OTK you out of left field in case something goes wrong. Talk about a massive contingency plan, just of some of the craziest ideas that you can really bring to the table here. So I thought that this was very cute at the end of the day for what they're trying to do here. So what do you think about all of these interesting decks? Please leave a comment down below, tell me what you guys think, and I'll see your beautiful faces back here later in the day, guys. Peace out. patrons. Thank you.
Thank you so much for watching. Check out these other videos.